Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take another look here at Adam. And if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, just love teaching people how to trade. Been trading for over 15 years and it's my passion to help you become a better trader. So feel free to consider becoming a community member and or subscriber. Link in the description below. CryptoCache.tech is essentially the site, and you can effectively get signals that I send for every single trade that I take, so you learn how to structure your trades. And obviously a trading academy that works very effectively to be able to get you those foundational skills that you need. It's all included there, of course. Take a look here at Adam now. What we want to do is, of course, understand a few simple things. Now, we had this potential basically death cross that occurred recently where the price action came down, obviously where the moving averages intersected, and the price has been stuck under there ever since. So we can expect the 200-day SMA to work as a resistance, and potentially also the 50 as well. But it shouldn't work too much longer, of course, because it's going to continue to come down, average out, and I do not foresee the price continuing to digress based on its previous patterns. And I'll explain what I mean by that here, but generally speaking, in the big picture, it is making higher highs and potentially making higher lows. All right. And I say potentially because obviously we don't know specifically where it's going to go next, but it is trending nicely at this point, and I think Adam's looking very good. In fact, it's one of my top 5 coins, I think, for the month of March, as far as something that you could probably expect to see a decent return on in the immediate future. Okay. Now take a look here at the 1 day. One last thing to note, we bounced off of 50 on the RSI, or very, very close to that. We're trending at 50 on the RSI presently, so we're going to see if $28 is a pretty good support level. It has proven to be one in the past, and of course here on the Fibonacci retracement showing us that that is a key level support, and of course it's working very well in that sense. Okay, so we should be able to see that hold, pending we don't see any nonsense from Bitcoin. And what I mean by that is if we get a close below 37,000 for Bitcoin, then the overall sentiment will shift, and we're not making higher lows anymore on the 1 day for Bitcoin. That could shift things differently for Adam because, again, it's a profitable coin for a lot of folks, and they're going to take their profits in that regard. And good coins have a tendency of getting damaged if Bitcoin can stay low for too long, right? So that's kind of where we're at there. But Adam is doing very well. It's fairly independent of Bitcoin, minus the recent corrections. Okay, so again, still good stuff there in that sense. I think Adam has tremendous potential even still. We're still back up above, or retaining, so to speak, these moving averages here. Yes, we dipped below recently, but it ramped right back up here. That is very similar to Bitcoin's behavior in the last 24 hours. We have seen something just like this here from Bitcoin, but the difference is Bitcoin sold off pretty heavy here in the last 4 hours, whereas Adam hasn't. So that's again a very good sign. I like to see that. Looking down below, moving averages, or MACD, for example, it's basically 2 simple moving averages, or exponential moving averages, sorry, the 12 and the 26 intersecting. When that happens and you see that the 26 become overlapped, in other words, when the 12 comes up and swings, that tells us there's a shift in momentum. So this bearish divergence is going to shift to a bullish convergence, right? So essentially a good sign there in that sense. We are very close to seeing a potential breakout from Adam. Right, but we are still stuck under 50 on the RSI here, which does reflect the fact that $30 or $29.50 is a better number. $29.50 more specifically is a key level resistance. It has been for some time. It was resistance previously, worked as a recent support, and now it's again a resistance. So in that sense, that's kind of a point of contention here where if we can break above $29.50, I think we'll be in good shape to be able to add to our position and take the price back to the upside. Okay, so good stuff there in that sense. Adam's definitely looking very well. So I like the 4 hour a lot on Adam. Let's see what the 1 hour tells us. Looks like we are a bit on the overextended side here. We're at a 7, and we see this little bit of a pullback. Of course, that is reflectant of how Bitcoin is behaving recently. But the bottom line here is that we're rejecting off this resistance level. We're hitting a 7, so the likelihood of it consolidating here is much higher than it breaking. So we should expect to see some consolidation and a leg up. That would probably be the better case scenario. Worst case, of course, is the price comes back down to bounce off of $28, and we continue to make higher lows on the 1 hour. That'd be perfectly fine. So even a pullback to $28 wouldn't be terrible, but I'd love to see a consolidation here closer to $29.50 and then essentially break to the upside, come back down to test, and then continue upwards. That's a pretty consistent thing you'll see in a lot of trading when the price will break through a resistance level because there's a strong amount of selling pressure. And then if selling pressure eventually resides, allowing the price to push up, more selling pressure comes back down, it tests that support level, and then that becomes a new buy wall instead of a sell wall, and the price goes up. So it's kind of a cool situation, and that's likely the next steps here for Adam. It does feel like it's going to want to break out, but it's also a bit on the exhausted side here too, and it's been on a downtrend as well. So we got to just understand and respect the fact that it could continue to make lower highs and lower lows, at least on the 1 hour. right? But if we can get this trend to break, say it consolidates here, comes up and does this, then we're making higher lows, and that's an important transition to be able to break the previous pattern. Because again, patterns don't have to repeat themselves, but they oftentimes do, right? And if we look here as well, it's also kind of a pattern breakout as well. So you can see that it's broken above. Granted, that's not official. That doesn't mean it's just going to take off from here, but it's a good sign to see that they kind of break that trend line, because its trend recently was making lower highs and lower lows. But of course, that shift in momentum could very well be happening right now. Again, a little too early to confirm. We don't have confirmation yet. We need more consolidation here. Heaven forbid we get the price come back down and bounce again. Once again, perfectly fine. We'd be making higher lows at that point. That's a good sign. Okay. So again, this is exuding some good qualities of a nice transition to take that, that MACD convergence in the 4 hour to help it continue to push upwards, as well as the fact that the 1 day is still looking overall very good. We just have to note that there's going to be a resistance channel, kind of where the price action is at right now. 28 to 29.50 is kind of this area that has a lot of volume in this price point. In fact, why don't we go ahead and take a quick look at the amount of volume, and we can see there's a lot more volume in this range. Of course, this is basically just about what? This is about 3.5 weeks worth of trading data. So in the last 3.5 weeks, we've seen the most amount of volume at the current price point or just below. That is going to work as a support level, so it does reaffirm the fact that $28 is probably going to hold as a support if the price pulls back any further. So I'd recommend just adding to your position now. I do think that we're going to see the price continue to increase from here. It may pull back a little bit, but not too much, because once again, a lot of volume here and ultimately looking pretty good here to break this little trend line. So what we ultimately, again, want to see is a bounce off 28 and or consolidation close around 29.50, and then a leg up there once the price breaks through. Okay. If you do see the price break through and come down and consolidate at 29.50, add to your position, because that would be a case in point when the price would likely continue to consolidate and then increase from there. Okay. But again, all good stuff here from Adam. I literally don't see anything that's adverse whatsoever, because I do feel like we are soon to break this trend, and of course we're looking pretty good. And again, the trend is your friend, right? And if we break the trend to the downside, then the likelihood of sideways and or increase from here is quite high. Okay. Now, again, we could see some channel trading from the next 24 to 48 hours. We may not expect a big breakout, but if we get more consolidation here at 29.50, we're going to be in pretty good shape to be able to break that to the upside. One last thing we can take a look at here, and this is probably just going to tell us that we don't have much confirmation yet, but we are still technically under the cloud. But again, if the price were to go sideways for just say 6 to 12 more hours and just stay where it's at or increase a little bit, we'd be then inevitably above the cloud. The lagging span will be free and clear of any price action, and the conversion line's already past the baseline. So these are good things here. We've got basically one of three things telling us we got a buy signal. But once we have that full-on confirmation here in about 6 to 12 hours, I think this would be a good consideration for a long position. Also keep in mind too, as soon as the price breaks above, I get this question a lot. It's like, hey, do I take entry as soon as the price breaks above the cloud? Short answer is no. You want to wait for confirmation. And to me, confirmation is 2 to 4 hours worth of continuation to the upside, or just confirmation you're staying above that level. Okay, so oftentimes you'll see this happen where the price it'll candle wick up, and it'll close and it'll continue to progress down, getting rejected by that cloud. It's again kind of a series of moving averages. So in that sense, you got to understand that if as soon as this peaks up above here, it doesn't mean you take entry. It could very well come back down. You want to wait for at least 1 or 2 hours, a few candlesticks essentially to close, and then give you that confirmation that you're on the right side of the tracks. Okay, that's what true confirmation is waiting and being patient, not just seeing an instant break above any type of moving average or a cloud and just taking entry based on that one sentiment. Look at everything. That's why we look at this here. Help you understand the big picture. All right. Hopefully that found benefit, or you find benefit from this, and that makes sense how I explain this. But we'll keep a close eye on Atom, of course, and I'll probably be making a top 5 video that will include this as well, based on the simple fact that it's just a really good coin. And I do have high hopes for this one here soon. I think it's going to continue to do well. In fact, we have a swing trade signal available or open right now in our trading community, and $36 is one of our profit targets. And I can tell you, I'm confident we'll still be able to hit that. We came very close recently, and I think it'll ramp back up again. Still making higher highs and higher lows on the 1 day. That's an important thing. All good stuff here from Adam. Thanks again for your time. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Hope you have a great rest of your day. See ya.